There are some new devices in the crypto sector that are just crazy. They are making several $100s per day, down to like 17 bucks a day, but costing only hundreds of dollars. And saying only hundreds of dollars, I understand hundreds of dollars is a lot, but what if you could receive plus $17 a day and do nothing? I'd pay hundreds of dollars for that if it would stay like that for a long time. What's up? I'm Vosk. I've been doing a lot of research. I've been working on building my own major mining farm, and today we're going to be looking at the Bitmain Antminer AL1 as well as the Ice River AL0 and also the Gold Shell ALBox and ALBox 2. These devices earn between $17 and $668 right now with the current network of the cryptocurrency they mine as well as the coin's price. Some of these devices previously have earned $100 per day as well as even over $900 per day. Which one's the best? Are these worth pursuing at all? What are the risks, right? What are the costs? We're gonna break it down, so let's do it. So look at this. Look at this. Would you just look at it? AL1 right now sitting at $668 a day after you pay for your electricity bill. All the freaking no coin or losers that are like, oh yeah, it makes $607 after you pay the electric bill, you lose money. Like, shut up, dude. Sorry, Tess. I'm sorry. It's okay. I'm sorry. This comments. I mean, bro, if you're watching the video and you're one of those guys, shut up, you're an idiot. Anyway, before I shit on all these feelings, let's get to the point here, right? Ice River AL0 down there at the bottom, but still very profitable. One of the most profitable miners to buy in the world right now, 17 bucks a day. Also, Ice River will follow up with more powerful ALPH miners. That's their playbook. They release the smallest one they have, and then they make bigger and bigger and bigger ones, dragging all of the mining profitability down. There's the Gold Shell ALBox 2 sitting up here as well. When you scroll down just a little bit, we can see the original ALBox still projected to pull in about 15 bucks a day. And of course, we have the AL1 rating as our supreme leader. Let's look a little closer. We're really going to focus on the Antminer AL1 and the Ice River AL0 because Gold Shell's tech actually kind of sucks comparatively to these, and even more so their price points. So 15.6 terahash a second, that's 3,510 watts. That's 0.225 joules a gigahash. Now, if we look at the ALPH AL0, right, we got 400 gigahash at 100 watts. So that actually breaks down to 0.25 joules a gigahash. And if you don't know what that is, I'll explain that in here in just one moment. And then we have the ALBox and the ALBox 2. The ALBox 2 is literally just two AL boxes jammed into one machine. So it has the same efficiency on both, and that's 0.5 joules a gigahash. That's literally just twice as bad, okay? And let's kind of break this down, right? So these are ASIC miners. They're application-specific integrated circuit miners. These are purpose-built custom computers that only mine one mining algorithm, which normally is just one cryptocurrency. So imagine if you wanted to drive from point A to point B and you've got 0.5 joules a gigahash and you've got 0.25 joules a gigahash, right? If you got the 0.25, you would spend half as much gas as the guy in the 0.5, which equates to spending more electricity, and that electricity erodes your actual mining profitability, and you just end up making your electric company rich and not yourself. And with how expensive these machines are, it's absolutely incredibly imperative to focus on breaking even, right? And then looking at turning a profit after that. At least that's how I go about it personally with my mining business. So the ALBox sucks. It's twice as bad as like the next competitor machine. And so we'll look at the smaller ones and then we'll bring it home with Big Daddy AL1, right? And by the way, I want to ask you to head over to the YouTube community page, or if you follow us on Twitter, I've got basically the same poll in both spots. Let me know if you think I should be a madman and buy the AL1. So let's look at the AL0 by Ice River. This thing, you plug in a little power brick, right? Because it doesn't use much electricity at all, 100 watts. and Ethernet cable, and you start earning passive income. It is the same design casing of like the KS0, if you're familiar with those Casper miners. Like 400 gigahash at 100 watts. This thing is small, it is quiet, it is cheap to run, right? I mean, it's gonna cost you maybe like a quarter a day. It's $5-10 a month. It's not much, especially if you're pulling $500+ a month. But again, we'll talk more about that. At 400 gigahash, you compare that to the AL box and the AL box 2. For $1,400 is 360 gigahash at 180 watts. AL box 2 is literally double that. So that's nearly 400 watts, right? So let's just round up to 400 watts and we'll say that this is kind of like 800 gigahash. You could get 800 gigahash over here and only spend 200 watts and be in for basically half the price. This is the worst value by far. Because at 800 bucks, let's say it's kind of more like 900 once it's all said and done, right? Times 2. For $1,800, you're getting more mining performance at a lower electricity bill than this. It's just not even worth looking at anymore. We're actually going to start breaking down, should you buy a bunch of AL0s if you were really all into this, as opposed to the Bitmain AL1. So let's look at the Bitmain stats, and I'd like to have a huge shout out and thank you to ASIC Marketplace, who's a big supporter of our channel and helps us pursue these crazy mining rigs. Without some serious support, it would just be terrifying to pursue all these new obscure miners that you hope will, break even. I mean, you understand, like, you go out and buy a fucking car for this money. It's 33 grand, okay? And if you go and buy it from Bitmain, congratulations, you're paying the same price as buying from, say, like ASIC Marketplace, right? Because if you didn't have a coupon to buy in literally the millions of dollars, probably, you'd be paying like 42 grand, and then you'd be hit with probably like a 30% tariff on top of that. Before you know it, you drop 50 grand on a device with rapidly diminishing mining profitability. Scary, okay? So check out our link and check out our code to save you some coin down in the video description below. But the bottom line is here, 15.6 terahash a second at 3,510 watts of electricity. And now it's time to pull up my handy dandy notes. Okay, so check this out. We could buy 40 Ice River AL0s. They would consume 4,000 watts of electricity. Or we could have one AL1. That would consume 3,500 watts of electricity. With those 40 AL0s, we would be mining at 16 terahash a second, because 1,000 gigahash equates to 1 terahash. So for 32 grand, you could buy 40 AL0s, mine the ALPH cryptocurrency at 16 terahash a second, consuming 4,000 watts. Or you could spend around 32 grand to order the AL1 and mine 15.6 terahash a second at 3,510 watts. Remember, these basically have the same efficiency. The AL1 is, in essence, a bunch of AL0s pushed together. Deploying an AL1 versus 40 AL0s, you definitely want the AL1. But if you have a problem with the AL1, that is a catastrophic issue and loss. If you have one of 40 AL0s go down, who cares? Honestly, right? Who cares? I mean, I care some, but I'm not having a freaking mental breakdown like I would with the AL1. How much money is there even to be had in ALPH mining? The daily emission is 1.15 BTC, right? And so right now, Bitcoin is basically at 70 grand, which is pretty cool. So that's pretty much $80,000 of daily mining profitability. Volume's decent on this coin at about 9 Bitcoin, which is pretty much about $750,000 in daily trading volume. Right now, ALPH is trading at $2 a coin at a $170 million market cap. It's up 775% in the last year. All right, and some people, especially those in the ALPH community, are trying to say it's like the next Caspa, right? It's better than Caspa. It's about the tech, this, that, whatever. I want you to go out there, do your own research, and you tell me what you think in the comments below. The bottom line is every project's always saying that stuff, and very seldom is it true. I'm not saying it's not, but I'm not saying it is. Let me show you some real world mining profitability that I just happen to have handy. So look how steady the mining returns were on the AL box, and they are dropping big time right now. Not good. Not good for existing AL box holders. Right, to get 8.4 coins when just a month ago you were getting 13. I mean, that's a catastrophic drop in your daily mining profitability. ALPH about a year ago has risen 35,000%. It's down 50% from its all-time high, which of course pretty much happened when these miners were released. I'm very curious to see kind of what happens and where this stuff goes, because the coin that everyone's comparing this with, for better and worse, is Caspa, which is sitting up here at basically nearly $5 billion market cap. All right, so this could 10x and still just be a fraction of that Caspa market cap. As a coin miner, that's really intriguing. That's enticing, right? But there is a Trojan horse, my friends, amongst us. It's called proof of less work. Look at this clip where she talks about 1 exahash.
Once the hash rate threshold is reached, which is 1 exahash in our case, the cost of mining a new block continues to increase as it does on proof of work. But instead of that cost being paid by miners exclusively in computing power, it is now paid in computing power and by burning Alephium. So you basically kind of cap the energy consumption of the network at large scale, because past a certain point, even though the cost increases, a majority of that cost is now being paid by burning Alephium upfront rather than providing more computing power.
Do you know what 1 exahash is? Let me show you. It's 1,000 petahash. Okay, well, whatever. Well, what does that really mean? We're talking about miners that do gigahash, terahash. What's the network hash rate? 1.6 petahash. Let's double check that. Mining pool stats saying the same thing as what to mine. 1.6, 1.5 petahash. So basically, mining rewards will be reduced at 1 exahash. So 1.5 petahash, right, is gonna be 1,500 terahash. So that's equivalent to only like 100 of these AL1s on the network. Bitmain produces miners in the batches of hundreds and thousands and tens of thousands, depending on what they want to do and what these networks can hold. So you're telling me that they only need to make like 1,000 miners to be into that 1 exahash range, well into it. And let's look at that mining profitability again. So we can just really roughly say we've got like 100 miners. And then if they 10x'd how many miners are on here, right? So we're making 676 divided by 10, you'd be making $68 a day. And then they've got this burning mechanic that's described very vague in the video, and we need to kind of break down the docs on another video and look at how exactly does this function, because it's code, it's programmed. We can analyze and project what will happen here. So let's just say that reduces it by like 20%. We'll go times 0.80, right? So we're at like $54 a day. Oh, and then we gotta pay the dang electricity bill. And before you know it, your $680 miner is making $46. But that's still a lot. $46 over the next year is 17 grand. And that's half of what you fucking paid for it. Let's hope it's a lot more lucrative than this. Apparently, there's incoming bigger exchange listings. They're getting more support from different things. F2 pool is launching an ALPH mining pool. They don't really have a shortage of mining pools, but many of these are not exactly set up for ASIC miners. Many of these are basically defunct or not where I'd park my miner. So take that for what it is. Circulating supplies reportedly at about basically half of its total supply. Decent place to be. I understand a lot of these comments though in recent videos. I feel similar. Like I talked about being burnt out with mining And it's because of the miner models. I'm so sick of all these new models coming out today, tomorrow, next week. There's been a disgustingly high amount of just straight up actual machines, but the prices have been absurd, and it just really feels like the miner manufacturers are the only ones getting rich, right? The crypto coins, the currencies, their networks are just getting pounded with new hash. There's benefits to that, right? But it's like, imagine you just spent too much on security. Like you had this massive defense force guarding your bakery. It's just, is it too much? Would we have been fine with like just one guy? We have an army. Of course, it's more beneficial. It's anti-fragile, all that stuff. I'm kind of kidding, but I'm also kind of not. So there's that aspect. But the biggest thing is just the miner manufacturers are selling these machines that cost them a couple $100 to make, and they are of course expensive to develop, right? The research and development is very difficult, of course, and expensive, and very just unique in this sector. But the bottom line is 30 grand is gross. When are they gonna sell us machines that make us rich? They don't seem to want to do that. These miners would fly off the shelf at lower prices. They're selling out at current prices. There's too much money and there's too much greed in the world, especially in the last, the last 2 years in mining. People don't think Bitcoin's going away anymore, and it's made them beyond bullish in the mining sector. To see a device that was on a unproven cryptocurrency on a newly ASIC mine network be listed for 33 grand. If we went back to 2017, 2018, this would have been $6,000. So yeah, the price point is nauseating, but it's actually cheaper than buying 40 AL0s. So is Ice River making mining more affordable and approachable having a mini miner? Yes, but they're charging you, the consumer, a premium for that. Is that worth it? It feels like it's a lot easier to make $800 back than 33 grand. But statistically, by the numbers, assuming nothing went wrong and things perform as they're advertised to do, the AL1 is a better buy than the AL0 at scale. But it's a lot more palatable to spend $800 than 33 grand, if that's even possible. The average person cannot spend 33 grand. Honestly, the average person cannot even maybe spend $800. That's scary. If you don't have a lot of cash to throw around, invest, play with, hope it works out, the more expensive things are, the harder it is to get in the game. And the bottom line is, mining is just becoming more and more expensive and just less and less approachable. The barrier to entry is lower than it's ever been with hardware options and models and even small mini miners and things like that. But the barrier to entry is higher than ever with price points. Easier to deploy miners, more varied places to deploy miners, but harder than ever to afford miners. I'm Vosk, you're on the VoskCoin YouTube channel. This is Tails, our CCO, Chief Executive Officer, who recently had to battle her reflection. So you can check out the real-time instant replay from this one. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Please vote in those polls just for fun. I'd love to hear your thoughts and see your thoughts there. And hope to see you on the next one.